What is the difference between an equation and a math expression? What we've done so far, every trinomial, x squared plus 6x plus 8 is a math expression. This is quadratic, solving quadratic equations. What's the difference? It does have an equal sign. Alright, it does have an equal sign. Okay, so every quadratic equation that we have today solving quadratics is going to have an equal sign. Okay, so let's look at this for example. Let's say if we have x. Okay, first of all, how do we know this is a quadratic? Because if no, not because it equals 0, but because when you distribute, you get an x squared. Okay, anything that has an x squared is a quadratic. Okay, now if you were asked to solve this quadratic, and you know you have to solve it because it said it equals 0, what we do is we take each term. Here's one term. Here's my other term. We take each term, we set it equal to 0, and then we solve. Well, my first term is pretty easy because x is going to equal what?
0.
X is going to equal 0. My second term, x plus 6, set equal to 0. Now, if you can see doing mental math that x is going to equal negative 6, you just put x equals negative 6. You get to solve it. Subtract 6, subtract 6. Oh, that's right, x equals a negative 6. Okay, so this and this are both your answers. Okay, our concept here is we're asking ourselves, okay, to have this whole thing equal 0, I don't need both of them to equal 0. I only need one or the other to equal 0. Because anytime you get one to equal 0, you times it by anything, your answer is always going to be 0, right? So we don't need them both to be 0. We just need one of the two to be 0. Or if you have 3 terms out there, you need one of the 3 to be 0. Okay? But they're each your answer. Now, here's something else for future that we'll talk about. We call these your answers. Okay? We call these your solutions. What else have we called them in the past?
Is this going to be on the test?
Zeros. We also call them what? So we got solutions, zeros.
Product?
X-intercepts, very good. X-intercepts are the big one right there. Because anytime that you graph this, which would be x squared plus 6x, if you went to your calculator and graphed x squared plus 6x, you put that in your calculator, those answers, which are your answers, will always be your x-intercepts. Always, always, always. So if you get stuck factoring down, what can you do with your graphing calculator? Graph them, and you're looking for your what? Your x-intercepts. Your roots, your zeros, your x-intercepts, solutions. 4 words that you didn't remember, they all mean the same thing. I'll say it one more time for all of us who still haven't wrote it down. Kennedy. Zeros, roots, solutions, x-intercepts. Okay, 4 words that all mean the same thing. So on a quiz, when I ask you to find the roots of the problem, you're not saying, well, I don't know what you're talking about. What am I doing? Well, you do know, because roots, solutions, x-intercepts, and zeros all mean the exact same thing. You're looking for the answers. All right. Now, how about this problem here? Let's look at this one. What are we going to do if we have this? N squared minus 10n plus 22. N squared minus 10n plus 22 equals a negative 2. All right, second thing we have to keep in mind, anytime you're solving a quadratic equation, you must always set it equal to 0. It has to be set equal to 0. Okay, you can't do any other work until it's set equal to 0. So Ashton, my first step on this problem will be to do what? Add 2, very good. You haven't set it equal to 0, so we got to add 2 to both sides. If you get weird variables in here, and you don't like working with weird variables like b or n or whatever, because I hate working with those, if you want to make them x's, I don't care. Okay, it just makes it easier. X squared minus 10x plus 24 equals 0. All right, now my trinomial is equal to 0, and I can factor it down. So therefore, I make my parentheses. My second step is to do what? No.
X's.
What times what gives me my first term? That would be x times x. If you kept it n, that would be n times n. My third step are my signs. Since my last term is positive, I look to the middle term and say they both are negative in this situation. If your last term is negative, your signs are always opposite. Okay, now I come with my factors of 24. 1, 24. 2 and 12. 3 and 8. 6 and 4. Since my signs are the same, what am I doing with my factors? You're adding. You're adding. So what factors, when I add together, will give me 10? 6 and 4. Same signs, order doesn't matter. If my signs are opposite, then I'm subtracting, but my biggest factor always keeps the middle sign. Very good. Alright, now I've got my two terms set equal to 0. So I'm thinking, okay, in my head, I'm going to set each term equal to 0. So I got x minus 6 equal to 0, x minus 4 equal to 0. You can see here that x is going to equal 6, x equals 4. If you graph this trinomial right here, at the very beginning, x squared minus 10x plus 24, you hit graph. Your graph is going to land on your x-intercepts at what 2 points? 4 and 6.
Oh, I remember this.
4 and 6. Okay? So if you're factoring, you get stuck, graph it and see what it gives you. Okay? See what it gives you. Alright? Questions on that so far?
So basically, all we're doing is doing what we learned on Wednesday, I think it was, but just adding and using.
But we're adding when it's set equal to 0, now you gotta solve for it. That's all you're
So
doing.
we know already how to do it.
Right, yeah, your steps are the same. I'm not gonna teach you anything else. All we're doing now is solve for 0, and you're doing that. So today, really all we're doing is we're reviewing factoring again. That's all we're doing. Because factoring is important, people. If we don't understand factoring after this unit, oh, life gets tough. Let me tell you. Okay, you gotta understand factoring. Alright, let's look at another problem here. Let's look at where did that problem go that I did this morning that I liked? Here we go. 6x squared minus 13x. So we got 6x squared minus 13x plus 6 equals 0. Alright? What should I do first here?
Multiply 6.
Okay, you could multiply by 6. You could. And if you did it, you get the same answer, but it might be a little more difficult because 6 times 6 is 36. That's what I have to do. Okay, I was thinking of this problem. Okay. First thing you want to look at first, if you can, is you want to try to take out a GCF. But in this situation, you can't because you got 13. I was thinking that was a different number. So, multiply by 6. Very good. Alright, anyway, I was thinking of a different problem. Okay. So you multiply by 6. Anytime you got a number in front of your variable that's squared, you multiply by that number. Unless you can take out a greatest common factor. We can't do that here because the 13 goosed me up. I was thinking that was an even number, but okay. Alright, so I multiply that, that gives me x squared minus 13x plus 6 equals 0.
36. Oh wait, what did you 36?
Very good. People pay attention. I
Testing
like
us.
when people pay attention.
Oh, I was
That's right. Okay, alright, 36. Alright, now I know that my first step is to do what?
Parentheses.
Parentheses. I got x and x, and then I got what?
Positives.
Minus.
So it's
Positive. Oh no, they're both what?
They're both
They're both negative, aren't they?
4 and 9.
Factors of 36 that add up to 13.
4 and 9.
4 and 9, very good. Okay, now I got x minus 4 equals 0. X minus 4 equals 0. I got x minus 9 equals 0, so you can see.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah, I got
Woo!
5 by 6.
Do what?
Look,
Divide by 6.
Oh, young pups, very
Okay, I
good.
can't tell if you're just doing this on purpose. or what.
Fantastic. Alright, so here we go. Since we multiplied by 6 at the beginning, we have to do what?
Divide by
Divide by
6.
We have to divide by 6. Alright, so now, if I have 4 over 6, okay, how can I reduce 4 over 6? Okay, I take a 2 out of both. That gives me 2 over 3. And if I ever have a number on the bottom of a fraction I can't reduce anymore, I put that in front of my variable. So that gives me 3x minus 2. Over here, what can I take out of 9 that I can take out of 6?
3.
A 3, that would give me 3 over 2. Take out front, so that gives me 2x minus 3 equals 0. Okay, now, here's a little clue how to solve things mentally if you can. Whenever you have a number that's just not x minus 2, you can tell you're going to get a fraction here, okay? You know that if you take this problem right here and you solve, set it equal to 0, like we should, okay, I'm gonna have to add the 2 to both sides. 3x equals 2, and I divide by 3, and that's gonna give me a positive 3/2. Another way to look at it, okay, your answer is always going to be opposite of your sign. So it's negative, your answer will be positive. If this is positive, your answer would be negative. Okay, opposite sign, which is positive. Then it will always be 100% of the time constant divided by coefficient. 2/3.
So isn't that technically what we did?
Yeah, it's the exact same thing that we did here, except for
I mean, like, could we just say like, oh, since it was negative.
positive
4/6,
2/3. Yep, yep,
because
yep.
that's what it is.
But if they ask for the answer, yes. But if they ask for your factors, you have to write this down, of course.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get to a little bit later on. We're talking about polynomials and synthetic division. You have to give me all the factors and all that stuff, and I'll just answer for it. So right here, you look at this right here, because I may not give you this, I just may give you this. If you look at this right here, you're saying, okay, x equals, opposite sign is positive, constant divided by coefficient, which would be 3/2. Just remember, opposite sign, constant divided by coefficient. Okay, constant divided by coefficient. Alright? So what you're doing is, you really haven't learned anything new today. Concepts of factors are still the same. You just have to remember at the very last step now, if it's set equal to 0,